In the past module, we've examined how AI can be a real force for positive good, provided you have the right constraints and conditions. Unfortunately, it's very easy to get pulled into the hype surrounding AI. This means there are many negative use cases of AI, which will be the topic we are addressing today. To front-load the message of today's class, not every use case needs AI. The choice to apply AI needs to be made carefully and deliberately. Poor choices around applying AI and algorithms can have disastrous impacts, including systemic bias, increased inequality, and harm to vulnerable populations. Furthermore, bad algorithms tend to be cyclical, drawing victims into a vicious cycle of negativity. The purpose of this video is not to examine any one public AI failure in depth, but rather to identify some commonalities found in bad AI applications. One example of this is the UK Post Office scandal, which had been characterized by then Prime Minister Rishi Sunak as one of the greatest miscarriages of justice in our nation's history. The scandal resulted in over 900 individuals being incorrectly accused of fraud, resulting in the loss of livelihood, evictions, family breakdown, and at least 4 suicides. Another example is the Dutch child benefits scandal, which resulted in at least 39,000 parents being accused of tax fraud, often based on ethnic profiling. Over 2,000 children were removed from their house by Child Protective Services on basis allegations of tax fraud. The Dutch parliamentary inquiry called the scandal an unprecedented injustice. In both scandals, algorithms and AI played an important role, but as we will discuss, the primary issue is with the choice on how to apply and rely on algorithms. In other words, the social choices and institutional design created a situation in which such grave algorithmic injustice could occur. Some of the commonalities of poor or even nefarious AI in public sectors are the following. 1. Punitive goals. The system was designed to primarily detect and penalize fraud, prioritizing enforcement over support or fairness. 2. It relied on flawed and unethical data. The algorithms relied on biased, inaccurate, or even unlawfully sourced data, undermining their validity. 3. Over-reliance on algorithms. Institutions place too much trust on algorithmic outputs, prioritizing these over human judgment and critical oversight. 4. Assumption of guilt and algorithmic infallibility. The systems operated on the premise that human errors were intended as malicious and that algorithmic outputs were beyond any reproach. 5. Institutional denial and obstructionism. Organizations resisted accountability, denied wrongdoing, and obstructed transparency efforts. 6. Targeted marginalized communities. Vulnerable populations, often with fewer resources to contest accusations, were unfairly targeted. These factors underscore these institutional failures rather than the technological flaws alone. This is what often drives harmful AI applications. This is not to say that the technology itself is blameless. In the UK Post Office case, technical bugs directly contributed to injustice. However, it was the institutional refusal to acknowledge and address these flaws that allowed the harm to escalate. Similarly, in the Dutch child benefits scandal, laws were systematically violated, compounding the damage. To prevent such outcomes, we must approach AI implementation with caution, ensuring ethical frameworks and transparency are central in its use. In this module and the next, we will explore strategies for maintaining fairness, accountability, and transparency in AI systems, sometimes referred together as FACT.